Let's now discuss about SnowPark Container Services. SnowPark Container Services is a fully managed container offering from Snowflake that allows users to deploy, manage, and scale containerized application directly within the Snowflake ecosystem. It enables the developer to run any code regardless of the programming language or library on secure Snowflake managed infrastructure without the need to move data out of the platform. If we talk about key capabilities, it is language agnostic. It supports virtually any programming language and framework by packaging them into OCI compliant images like Docker images. It provides specialized hardware that provides access to various hardware configurations including GPUs and high memory instances for compute intensive tasks like ML trainings and LLM hosting. It have native data access. Containers have secure low latency access to Snowflake data, stages, and tables using local credentials provided at the runtime. And then it also supports strong security and governance, which operates entirely within the Snowflake security parameter, benefiting from Snowflake RBAC and governance features. There are three pillars of Snowpark container services. First is image repository. It is the storage locker in the Snowflake where you push your Docker images from your EC2 instance or from your local using Snowflake CLI put commands. Second is compute pool. This is the actual hardware that Snowflake spins up to run your containers. In order to create the control pool, you need to first create the image, which is the first pillar. You will say create image repository, the image name, and then you will create the engine, which is the compute pool, and you will mention minimum nodes, maximum nodes, and the instance family. And once you had created the image and created the compute pool, you will create the service that is nothing just a configurations that tells Snowflake how to run your image and which port to open and which hardware to use. In order to create the service, we will say create service in the compute pool for the specification, and inside the specification you will mention all the specification details in YAML format. Once you create these things, you had successfully implemented Snowflake container services. Next up is Snowflake ML Functions. Snowflake ML functions are a suite of SQL-based tools that allow users to perform advanced predictive analytics such as forecasting and anomaly detection directly within Snowflake without even needing deep machine learning expertise or external infrastructure. The core ML functions are forecasting, which predicts the future metric value based on the historic time series data. It automatically handles seasonality, holiday effects, and missing values. Next up is anomaly detection. It identifies the outliers in the time series data that deviate from the normal historical patterns. This is commonly used for fraud detection or monitoring cloud spend. Third is classification. It sorts the data into predefined classes. Common use case include customer churn prediction or lead scoring. And fourth one is top insights. It identifies the primary drivers of changes in a specific metric over time or across different categories. It is very beneficial in root cause analysis. Let's see this in action. I will go to my Snowflake instance. Here I had written all the scripts for forecast, anomaly detection, classification, and top sites. Let's go one by one. For forecast, first thing, I had created a view on top of my existing table, which is sales data. And then I had created a forecast model inside snowflake.ml.forecast, and the model name is model 1. And then I had passed my input data as the view which I had created, and inside the view I am having two columns. First is date and sales, and those columns I had passed. Please ensure that whenever you are doing forecast, you should be having at least one timestamp column. Without that, forecast is useless. Once you create the model, we will call the model, and the command for that is call model exclamation and then forecast keyword, and then we will mention forecast period, that how in depth you want your forecast to happen. Once you do that, we will hit all these. So I will select them and I will say control enter. It will take a little bit time because it is creating a model for me. So that's the reason it is taking a lot time than usual. And I am running this on extra small. That's the another reason. See guys, this is how forecast function works. So as I had mentioned forecast period as 3, it had given me the forecast for my lower bound and upper bound and the current forecast. This is very handy when you want to work on predictability and analysis purposes without being a background of data scientist. Second function is anomaly detection. For that, I had created a view and then I had created second view on top of which I will test the anomaly detection, because anomaly detection demands two objects, and that's the only reason I need to have at least two objects to go and check the anomaly detection. Okay, and then I need to create a model of anomaly detection, and this model will also go inside snowflake.ml, and inside that I will mention anomaly detection and my model name. And once this is done, I need to call my model with the same way as we had called forecast, saying model name, exclamation, then anomaly. So this is what I had done here. I had said model name, explanation, and detect anomalies. And inside that, we need to mention input data and timestamp and target column. And once I trigger all of this, I should be able to identify the anomalies between these two objects. Let it run. And see, guys, it had created the forecast, it had created the lower bound, upper bound, anomaly, and percentile, and the distance. This is the generic example, but the process will remain the same. You need to create the anomaly using the same function, and I will provide you these scripts in the description as well as in my Git account. You can play with these things. Next up is classification. For classification also we need two tables. For that I had created a training purchase data table and second is prediction purchase data table. Once you had created the table, I had created a view. Again, I need to mention the same thing, snowflake.ml.classification, my model name. And once I had defined the model name, I can just do select on the model name using the function predict. Then I should mention the input data from my respective table. And in this way, you can see the functionality of classification. Let's run them as well. I will just select them all and let's see if this even working or not. Perfect. I can able to see the predictions based on the tables which I had created. And the last one is top insights. Similarly, for top insights, I had created a table and I had inserted some data inside the table. And then I had created a view on top of the table. And then again, I need to say snowflake.ml.top insights and my model name. And once I create my model name, I need to call my model name, and the function to call this is get drivers. Okay. And once I mention all the parameters, I just need to trigger run and I should be able to see the insights based on this ML function. These are very handy when you are not from a data scientist background, but to still want to do kind of analysis and sentimental analysis and all these predictions. These parameters then become very, very helpful. See, guys, it had shown me the results of top insights as well. That's pretty much about Snowflake ML functions. Next up is Cortex LLM functions. Snowflake Cortex LLM functions are set of fully managed SQL and Python functions that provide direct access to industry-leading LLMs like LLAMA, Mistral, and Snowflake Arctic natively within the Snowflake Data Cloud. These functions allow you to perform advanced text analysis, generation, processing tasks without needing to move data out of your secure Snowflake environments. If we talk about core generative AI functions, first is AI Complete. This is the primary generative function used to produce a text completion for a given prompt. It supports multi-turn conversations and is updated version of the complete function. Next is AI Extract. It automatically pulls specific entries or information from the unstructured data like text, images, or files. Third is AI embed. It generates vector embeddings for text or images, which are essential for similarity searches, clustering, and building RAG pipelines. Next are task-specific functions. The first function is AI summarize. It generates a concise summary of a given text, ideal for condensing long document or customer feedback into a summarized format. Next is AI sentiment. It returns a sentiment score between -1 to +1 to help you gauge the mood of the text data. Third is translate. It translates the text between the supported language, either English to French or any other language, directly within a query. And fourth is AI classify. It categorized text or images into a user-defined labels, useful for automated tagging and data organization. And last is AI redact. It automatically identifies and masks the PI data like names, emails, phone numbers from your unstructured text. Last category is analytics and helper functions. First is AI aggregator. It aggregates the insight across multiple rows of text based on the user-defined prompt, bypassing standard context window limits. Next is AI filter. It returns a Boolean value based on the semantic check of that input, allowing you to filter results using natural language in where clauses. And next is sound tokens. It is a helper function that returns the number of tokens in the string according to a specific model's tokenizer, useful for managing cost. Last one is AI similarity. It calculates the semantic similarity between the two input values. Let's now discuss about Streamlit in Snowflake. Streamlit allows developers to build, deploy, and share interactive Python-based web applications directly within the Snowflake Data Cloud. By running natively in Snowflake, these apps benefit from built-in governance, security, and immediate access to your data without moving it to the external systems. If we talk about core features and benefits, first is native integration. Apps are treated as first-class Snowflake objects governed by RBAC and existing security policies. Next is no front-end experience required. Developers can write pure Python code using Streamlit open source library to create widgets like filters, sliders, and charts. Third is SnowPark support. It seamlessly uses SnowPark for Python to query and process data at any scale. And fourth one is unified governance, because data and application code are sitting inside the Snowflake parameter that ensures the compliance and security of the data. Let's talk about the native apps. Snowflake Native App Framework enables the developer to build, distribute, and monetize data applications that run entirely within the consumer's Snowflake account. Okay. This approach brings the application logic to where the data already resides, eliminating the need for data movement and enhancing security and governance. If we talk about key features and concept, the biggest key feature is in-account execution. Native apps are installed and run within the Snowflake account, so all the sensitive data never leaves the environment. Okay. Second is monetization and distribution. Providers can list their application on Snowflake Marketplace using various licensing and pricing models. Third is development tools. Applications can be built using familiar languages and tools within the Snowflake ecosystem, including SQL, Python, or SnowPark, and user interface via Streamlit in the Snowflake. Okay. Third is development tools. You can build applications in the Snowflake environment, and you can even use interface like Streamlits. Fourth is intellectual property protection. This framework is designed to protect the provider's underlying code and business logic, even while it executes within the consumer's account. Fifth is Snowpark container services. These are just the native containerized workloads, which actually allows you to integrate to the external softwares and sophisticated AI/ML models and even third-party services. This is the Snowflake native workflow. It includes 4 parts. First is develop, second is publish, third is install, and fourth is used. Develop and publish comes under the provider, and install and use comes under the consume service. Okay. So if we talk about develop, so a provider builds the application logic, right? And an application package also sometimes, which is a container that holds all your necessary code, right? Even metadata and even your setup scripts it can hold, and sometimes even data content it holds. So everything it comes within the develop. Okay. Second is publish. Once the application is developed, obviously the provider publish the application package through a specific public listing on the Snowflake market, or even if he wants, he can list to the private listing for the specific consumers. Okay. Third is install, and this is where the consumer discovers the app Okay, it accepts the terms and conditions for the app and it installs it into their own Snowflake account, where a new application object is created and configured by a setup script. For this use, the consumer runs the app against their own data, leverage the provider logic without moving data out of their secure environment. So this is the Snowflake native workflow. And if I talk about the use cases, it is used for AI ML solutions, okay, where companies can distribute the proprietary AI ML model as native apps, and it allows the customer to run their predictions against their private data very securely. Second is it can use for data analytics purpose, where providers offer ready to use analytics tools that can integrate seamlessly with the existing consumer data, and it offers immediate insights without requiring a separate data warehouse build. Third is data connectors. So data developers can build native that data ingestion connectors for various platforms like GitHub or Kafka that run inside the Snowflake to streamline their data pipelines.